Hello and welcome to News with a Foreign Accent. And today I'll be speaking to Desiree Berlangeri again. Desiree, welcome to the newsletter. Now, we've spoken before because you are a simultaneous interpreter and you interpret Donald Trump's words when he speaks on Italian TV and about all sorts of issues. But we're going to speak today specifically about the big spat between Giorgia Meloni and Donald Trump. So first of all, welcome. It's been a busy time for you, I'm guessing.
Yes, thank you very much for having me yet again. And yes, it's been a busy time because over the weekend, as you might have heard, there was this exchange of words between Donald Trump and our Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni. Because previously to that, there was the G7 summit. So they met again after a long time. They hadn't seen each other. And already there was a little something that happened about the Pope, as you might remember.
Mhm.
So that was the first time they saw each other in person after that.
Now, look, there a lot has been said about that and the spat and why and, the implications, et cetera, et cetera. But here we talk about language and we talk about translations and things that could sometimes get lost in translation. And I know that you think the way that something was translated is quite interesting, which may well be the phrase that Giorgia Meloni found so offensive and kind of created the big reaction. That is when Donald Trump was speaking on the phone, because he does that sometimes. He just can't. A lot of journalists now have his phone number. They call him up, unlike any other president. He just takes the call. You can't play the recording out on networks, but journalists can say what he said. And he apparently said that she was desperate to take a picture with him and that he felt sorry for her. Now, that he felt sorry for her, you have views on how it was translated in Italian, which may have led Giorgia Meloni to have the reaction that she did.
Exactly. Because to feel sorry for somebody can be translated in several ways in Italian. And the person who actually made the phone call decided to translate that as he felt pity for her.
So just say it in Italian, just so we're
Mi ha fatto pena, which means I felt, well,
I
exactly.
pity her.
Yeah, exactly. I pitied her. So I granted this photo. Is like, it was a gesture of kindness towards her. And if, as you said, that the recording of the phone call was not released, so we don't know the tone that Trump used. We can imagine that, but we have to trust the journalist that actually made
The words also, I have to say, tone or no tone. I mean, you could see why Giorgia Meloni got upset. But the translation is interesting because it almost suggests, I mean, knowing her, I wonder whether she actually heard the original English version
It's
or
possible.
whether she first got angry with the translation. But so he said, I felt sorry for her. And you think the ways in Italian to say would be, I felt sorry for her or I pitied her. And it was the pity that was used.
That's the one that was used, and I agree with it because I can imagine the tones that Trump used. I can only imagine, though I'm not sure. But as you said, she might have heard the phone call and actually heard the tone of voice, or the
Or even just the words in English,
yes,
right? Because
exactly.
most Italians would have heard it or seen it on Italian language media. Any other bits of that quite explosive confrontation between the two that stood out for you? And that, you and your colleagues discussed, for example.
We did, and the other verb actually is beg, because I wrote it down just to make sure that I reported it as he said it. I don't know what to say. She begged me for a picture. In this case, though, there is no conflict in terms of translation because we have the perfect verb for it, and it's exactly, which is implorare. And it's exactly the word she used when she answered in a short video that she sent out to respond to what he had said.
Italy doesn't beg. Neither does she.
Exactly. That's what she said. She doesn't, and Italy doesn't beg either.
Okay, so that's interesting because, of course, there's a different way you could say that. You could say she asked me for a picture. She was keen on it. But yeah, the whole begging thing. Now, obviously, you and your colleagues, and I remember finding it fascinating when you said it, that kind of, and I guess with language, there often isn't a right or wrong or a black and white. It's all about interpretation, which is where a lot of the cultural mistranslations can sometimes pop up. So do you and other interpreters kind of get together at the start of the day and think, right, how are we gonna do this one? on specific words, like the Giorgia Meloni.
We were asked actually by the editorial staff at the news channel I work for. We were asked what we thought was the most appropriate translation, and we discussed it among us. And we actually agreed that fare pena was the right one, but also we
And that
agreed
is, and fare pena means
to
I
pity. Exactly.
would pity one.
But we also agreed that if we had to translate that live as a simultaneous translation, probably we would have not gone that far because it's a very strong word. So we probably would have just chosen the literal translation to feel sorry for someone for something in this case.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which is interesting. So based on that, you can get a very explosive reaction. Any other ones? Because I know we've talked about it often, but any other like Trumpisms that you've heard over the past couple of days or weeks that you had trouble translating?
Well, this was the one that took all the attention over the last 2 days. But again, as we talked about it before, there was a slur that I had to translate a couple of days ago where he was talking. He was with Al Sisi, I believe. It was still the G7, I believe. And he was referring to the nuclear deal that Obama had signed with Iran, and he called Obama a stupid son of a bitch. And since I'm not allowed to say bad words live on TV, I had to change it a little bit. I kept the stupid, but then I had to use different words.
I mean, it's interesting because in English, I have to say, I don't think I would be allowed to say it live before 9 p.m. and even afterwards, probably not. But I suppose if you're doing it in English, there would be a beeping sound or like
Mhm,
you crossed out. Or I would say, I don't know what I would say because for the word, I hate, I'll say it now because we're on Substack. For the word fucking, you would just say effing. I
mhm.
don't know what you would say. I don't know. Is there a polite way? A son of a bee. I don't know what I would say, but
It is a way, but it doesn't mean the same
but
thing.
but also I think in English you would not people would know, you would make it clear what
Exactly.
it said, and then you'd also make it clear that it's too rude to say on air.
And
Whereas in
people would
English,
hear it from his own voice. There's no the mediation of an interpreter.
yeah.
So that's less serious than me saying that.
So
I
what did you translate it as?
Well, I said stupido ingenuo, which means
Oh, come on,
I
that's
know
not
it's not
there.
the same thing. But even if I choose the literal thing, that we do have that expression in Italian,
And can
but
I
in
just say
English,
stupido ingenuo is like
yeah, in
foolish,
yeah,
stupid
exactly.
fool,
I
naive.
know it's not the same thing. Yeah, I know. But again, in English is I mean, the Italian version of that, the literal translation is not as strong as it is in English.
Figlio di puttana.
Well, no, I would have said the figlio di buona donna, which means something
Okay, that's because
like
you use all the nice language, all the
yeah, yeah.
you've been doing your job for too
But
long.
in Italian, that means someone that is very shrewd or someone that is very good at doing things.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the opposite.
You see, but it kind of goes back to my original point that I always bang on about that translating Trump does end up refining what he says a little bit because figlio di buona donna means, son of a good woman, where by good woman you obviously imply a prostitute. But I
Mhm.
mean, that's, you could almost, that you could definitely say, and that's why you said it, on TV during daytime hours. Son of a bitch has a very different
I know.
impact.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Stupid was strong enough for me, I have to say. I would have stopped at stupid.
I know, but Trump doesn't let you. You have to go
I mean,
a little bit further.
it's not like it's a very offensive word, but you didn't say stupid to another world leader or a former president or, your peers in
I mean,
general.
listen, we can have a very long conversation about the content of what he says, but it's always the translation, which is fascinating because I think a lot of people in the English speaking world don't even think about it. And I also think that the impact of what he says in countries that aren't first language English, and so they don't hear it in the native language, just changes for the reasons that we have outlined. Well, let's see if Donald Trump and Giorgia Meloni make up, or if there will be more things
We'll
for
see.
you to translate.
We'll
Desiree, it's always a pleasure. I love these chats. Hopefully you and I can just catch up very quickly here on my Substack newsletter whenever we have, more food for thought.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so much for touching base with me so often.
much. Well, we have a lot to talk about always.
Absolutely. New cases coming up.
Yeah. Take
Okay.
care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.